Hello everyone, I'm back. And it's been a hot one. It's like 107, 108. Outside was the high. With the heat index, it was like 111, 112. So I started working on the hood, the front spoiler, and the trunk. And what I did was, of course, they're fiberglass with gel coat on them. So I had to scuff up the gel coat to make it, get rid of the shine, to allow the primer and paint to stick. So that's what I did, and I primed two of those pieces. The third one I just started sanding, and it just got too hot. So I decided I'd come to the car condo, work in air-conditioned comfort, only to find out that the air conditioner isn't working today. You can hear it running, maybe. I can hear it running, but it's just circulating hot air. I went out and looked, and the outside unit's not running, the fan's not running. So I'm not an air conditioning person, so we'll have to get that fixed. Anyway, I persevered because it's an hour drive here, an hour drive home. I don't want to waste 2 hours, so I decided to go ahead and work in the heat. I worked in worse. Again, I was working when it was 108 outside. So 88's, more comfortable. All right, so here's what I did. All right, so the issue was the panel bond. The old panel bond, where it seemed to be the issue, wasn't letting the new part rest down where it was supposed to. It was holding it up. So I got a heat gun. I tried a heat gun previously. It wasn't hot enough, so I bought another one, of course, off of Amazon. And used that and a putty knife. It took a long time, and of course, it was already 88 degrees in here, and I was sitting there with a heat gun and a scraper, paint scraper, taking off all of that. Anyway, I got it all off. Then I took a flapper wheel and sanded everything smooth. So now that's all done. Come to find out, it's not just the panel bond, it is the body panel itself. So let me show you what I've got. Now this is assuming the other one was perfect, which I have no earthly idea. Maybe it wasn't. Doesn't matter at this point. I cut my seam right there, assuming the other one was perfect and the two were identical. And to find out they're close, but not identical. All right, so I'm at the point now where I've got to cut clearance here. This is a little too far forward. I'll show you what's going on there. It'll go back a little bit, so I've got to cut through here somewhere. I haven't decided whether to cut this or cut that or where to cut it, but I do have to decide that because that needs to go down to meet this edge right here, this lip. So when that happens, this will go in and it'll go down, and that will help with this. That takes care of that. Come around here and you can see that it's a little bit high. All right. But if I push it down and it comes over a little bit, it takes care of that. And if you look back here, it's pretty much, I can just put it down there. And if I put the bonding strip in there, I can take care of that. This gap right here is an issue that needs to be taken care of. The reason why that's there is when I did these edges right here, I made sure everything interlocked and overlapped. So now I've got to trim it so it doesn't overlap quite so much. But I did that for strength reasons. So that front will be very strong once I put the panel bond and bond it in place. Same thing here. It's got the little bit of gap again because of the front. But if you look, if I push this down to where it belongs, it pretty much is right at perfect. So again, put the panel bond in there, the bonding strips, screw this to the bonding strips, and that will fix that. But before I do that, I have the same problem right here, that it's a little too far forward, and it also is interfering right there where the two curves are. So again, I've got to cut a line there and fix that. So I'll have to look at what's inside and how I can make sure that this is very strong. Once I cut it, it won't just be a butt joint. It'll be some kind of overlap, or I'll put a piece on the inside, whatever it takes to make it strong. Okay, and you can see that this edge right here is supposed to line up with that. So again, when this gets moved back a little bit, it'll help with that. Okay, so even though I got rid of all of the panel bond, that wasn't all of the issue. When I push down on this, it flexes, but right here it doesn't move at all. And if I can do this without screwing up the camera, if you look, let me switch hands here. This is what's going on. Let me see, there we go. See, it is actually resting on, this is the bulkhead, and then the body panel is literally resting on that bulkhead. So to get this to lower, I would have to cut the bulkhead. I don't want to do that. Here, let's get this down. There you go. There is no gap whatsoever right there. There is a little bit of a gap right there. So this could shift a little bit, but it cannot go down. And that is exactly what's holding this side up. We come over here. If you look, see, that doesn't move at all, but this part moves, and it right there is where it's not moving. So I'll have to figure out what to do about that. Chances are I'm just going to get this into place like it should be. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. Maybe when it moves back a little bit, it'll help some, but it can't move back a whole lot. I mean, I've only got, what is that, 3/8 of an inch maybe. So anyway, I've got a little more work to do. So I've got to cut this, and maybe once this settles down to where it belongs, it will help with that gap. But again, I can just screw it down and make it fit. All right, so that's what I've done today. That was my goal today, was to get rid of the panel bond and see where we are. That's where we are. So now I've got to go off and do the minor adjustments. And so this gap right here doesn't really matter because this thing has to fill in. I wish they would have made this panel that much taller, and then I could have just blended it in instead of having to fill in that hole. I'll probably put some foam in there, sand it to fit, or file it to fit, and then fix that. Okay, that's all I can think of right now. So all the trouble I went through to make my alignment jig piece template really didn't help, because those bulkheads are locating things where they need to be or where they've got to be. And so unless I wanted to cut and severely modify, not severely, it's only, you know, what, a half an inch or something. But anyway, unless I wanted to cut and modify the bulkheads, that thing is redundant, because the bulkheads are what's locating that. If I come over here and try to move this, you can see that, I mean, the bulkhead has it. I'm pushing this and it's not moving at all. So that bulkhead is holding it exactly where it is. So unless I can do something up here and cause that to flex, that's staying where it is. All right, so that's what I've got. All right, making progress. So like, subscribe, hit the alert, hit the thanks if you want to donate. Oh, and if you don't know what I'm doing, you don't know Jack. Bye.